Hello students, today we're going to talk about editing in RAW for noise reduction and lens correction. And again, I'm bringing a JPEG that I shot into RAW simply by doing a right click, opening in Camera Raw. And again, the first thing I want to do is resave this image as the same name, but after, leave the file extension DNG so it saves as a RAW file. Then I hit cancel. And I'm going to open the after file just to show you that there are two sitting here. They're exactly the same right now, but they will be different later. So I'm going to go ahead and double click the after. It automatically opens in the RAW editor. And if I so choose to, I can, remember from last time, I can choose to change my color temperature or my tint just a little bit if I so choose to kind of warm up the picture just a little bit. But the next thing I want to do is I want to take a look at how much noise I have because I shot this indoors with not some great lighting here. If I go to 100%, you can see a good bit of, I guess, static, pixelation, noise is what we call it. So we're going to move over to the detail bar. And here we can mess with some sharpening, but we actually want to take the sharpness out of the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the noise, and if you look, it almost is like a very soft kind of Gaussian blur. I can move that luminance up. I can bring some of the detail back or soften it even more with the detail. I can increase my contrast. Notice just a slight change in the color and also in my color detail. Once I move that color up, my color detail slider bar comes up. I'm now going to go ahead and fit in view so we can zoom back out and look how much softer her face looks, almost like a luminant glow to it. Now I can add some sharpening back into the image if I choose to do so without bringing back so much of the noise. And not necessarily on this picture, but if you hold down the Alt key while you hold the masking, you can actually see the picture in black and white. And decide, how you want to adjust that by taking a look there, and that's by holding Alt down. Okay, so I finished with our detail and noise reduction. I want to go over a couple steps to lens correction. And this image was kind of taken from above. If I chose to, I could, distort the image either by pulling it in or blowing it up to make it maybe look like it was taken with a fisheye lens. I can also change my vertical stance, so if I want it to look a little straighter than it did, I can do that. Horizontally, I can move things back and forth. That's kind of giving a warped look, so I'm going to go back to 0. I could rotate and give the picture kind of just like a little angle. And I can also scale it by making it slightly larger in its image, and would almost kind of do almost like a little bit of cropping there. So, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that just there. The last neat effect I like here is called lens vignetting, and this is a very subtle vignette around the picture. If I go in the plus direction, I'm vignetting and kind of brightening the edges. You can see that. If I go backwards, which is what I want to do, I want to darken around the edges there. So what I'm going to go do is I can also change the midpoint. I can pull in just how much it vignettes. I don't want it to go quite that far in. I'm going to pull that out just a little bit. And at this point I am happy with my image, so I could simply resave my image if I chose, or since I already gave this a new name, once I click done, it automatically saves the changes I did. If I did not want it to save, I could hit cancel. If I wanted to add further things that I needed Photoshop for, I could hit open image and open in Photoshop. And that's something we will do in a later tutorial. But for now, I'm going to hit done. I want to back up my browse and bridge, and as you can see, I'm going to zoom in here on our before. A little bit grainy, a little bit darker, and as I switch back to the after, softer, lighter, and a little bit more angled around the edges. Now because I did that lens distortion on here, it's probably a good idea for me to bring that into Photoshop and crop out that kind of background a little bit. But that is an intro to noise reduction and lens correction. I suggest that you choose a dark image or an image that was taken outside, something that is rather noisy, or something taken at a high ISO, so that you can properly reduce the noise and just play around with a lens correction either for effect or to adjust the photo. Again, remember to use my photos and one of your own. Good luck.